Hi aspirants, welcome to our SRV's weekly current affair discussions for economy. Today's first topic is about AgriStack. This topic AgriStack is in news because to tackle the issues such as poor access to credit and wastage in the agricultural supply chain, the central government is planning something called as an AgriStack. So what is this AgriStack actually? It is a collection of technologies and digital databases proposed by the central government to focus on India's farmers and the agricultural sector. So the one word to remember here is it's a digital database. It's just a digital database which will have information about a farmer and his land and his farming. So it's a digital database. And this provides the required data set of farmers, their personal information to Microsoft to develop a farmer interface for smart and well organized agriculture. Simply they are trying to convert agriculture into a smart agriculture, like how we say a smart classroom, a smart bedroom. Like in a smart bedroom we know the color, the shades change according to the moods and so on, right? So similar to that, agriculture is trying to be made into a smart way of agriculture using this AgriStack. For that, the database is called as AgriStack, and the technological company as a partnership for this is the Microsoft. So this could be an important prelims point. So the technological company in partnership is the Microsoft. Now, the digital repository will aid in precise targeting of subsidies, services and policies, so that who should get what sort of subsidy, how much subsidy should a particular farmer get, everything will be targeted precisely so that the farmers receive it exactly how much they have to receive. Now, under this program, each farmer of the country will get what is being called as a farmer's ID or simply a FID, and it will be linked to the land records of uniquely identifying the farmers. Now India has 140 million operational farm holding lands. This could be used in your prelims exam very well. Sometimes in your prelims also it could be asked. So India has 140 million farmland holdings. Now at present, the majority of farmers across India are small and marginal farmers. Very few are large scale farmers here. And these small and marginal farmers, they have very limited access to advanced technologies or formal credit. So when they don't have proper access or proper information about formal credit, that is to get a loan from a bank, they go to private money lenders where the interest is too high. And moreover, because of this, agriculture does not grow and the farmers' income also does not grow. So to reach the farmers, to make avail the formal credit and advanced technologies, even for small and marginal farmers, the government has to have some sort of information about the land holdings. And for that, this AgriStack is being introduced. And now, this formal credit can help improve output and fetch better prices for the agricultural products as well. So farmers' income can increase, but we are already trying to double farmers' income. That scheme has already been going on, and these schemes will be acting like a supplementary for that scheme. And this scheme is supposed to have sensors to monitor the cattle, drones to analyze the soil and apply pesticide and so on. So much of technological support can be obtained using this AgriStack. Now, so many benefits are there in the scheme, and yet there are some critics as well. So what are the critics? Now, such a centralized stack will use old and inaccurate land records. So already land records are not too identical or not too accurate in India, and it has not been completely digitized as well. Now, farmers' personal data and financial details will also be used, and this could be used without a storage data protection law. Until now, we don't have a proper storage data protection law. And in rural areas, people have very low level of digital literacy. They don't know how to protect their data, what should be given, nothing. When someone is asked, they just give the data, and this could cause an problem in privacy. That is what the critics say. The main criticism is absence of a data protection legislation. There's no such law which has to be there before implementing something like an agri-stack. That is what the critics are trying to say. Now, this agri-stack, the critics say it might end up being an exercise where private data processing entities may know more about a farmer's land than the farmer himself, because the data is going to be handled by a private company. In this case, that all the data with immense amount of technological advances as well, the private companies will know more details about a farmer's land than the farmer himself. This information asymmetry, that is, asymmetry is no equality in information. The farmer has less information about his land, but a private company will have more information of that particular land. This information asymmetry will be tilted towards the technological companies, and this might further exploit the farmers, especially small and marginal farmers. This is what the critics are trying to say. Now we have to wait and see whether the scheme is implemented and how far it's going to be successful. The next topic is about social stock exchange. Now, recently the government has come out in support of Securities and Exchange Board of India's crackdown on unregistered advisors making stock related suggestions on social media platforms. Simply in one word, I just open a YouTube channel and I start giving advices about stock exchanges and share markets. And what qualification do I have to do that? No qualification, nothing. I might even be an illiterate. I have not even go to school. I don't know anything about stock market. Simply I open a YouTube channel and I start talking about stock markets and security markets without any knowledge. But people who see this are least informed about this. They just know someone is talking in the YouTube, so that they might get easily misled with this. So SEBI has come down with this. They are trying to crack down such unregistered advisors, and now the government is ready to support this SEBI's action. Now many social media platforms including YouTube, Twitter, Telegram, all these places, advisors which are not registered with SEBI are advising on stock markets. So these people are unregistered advisors, and SEBI is trying to crack down this, because this could lead to volatility in the market, and moreover people could end up in loss as well. Now SEBI is going to tighten its hold on such advisors, as this often misleads the investors and harms the market as well. So it is harmful both for the investors and for the market. Both it is harmful. So this has to be taken care of. Now talking about this, we also have to know what is a social stock exchange. This social stock exchange, in short called as SSE, it is meant to serve private and non-profit sectors, provided by channeling greater capital to them. So this is simply for fundraising. You can easily understand something like, we have heard about fundraising like group fundraising, such words, right? So it is something similar to that, but with a different purpose. So the purpose is alone different here. So have you heard about crowdfunding, where you start a company, you don't have money to invest, so you start a crowdfunding where many people come and invest in your company and they get profits out of it. Here the fundraising is for a private company's purpose. But the social stock exchange, from the word social, you could have by now guessed the purpose is going to be something social rather than for a single person or for an entity. Now as per the proposal, the SSE can be housed within the existing stock exchange, such as the Bombay Stock Exchange, the National Stock Exchange, and so on. This could be a prelims question where such question has already been asked. So this SSE can be housed just within this. It's going to be a part of BSE or NSE. So what is the significance of this? This social welfare enterprises and non-profit organizations could get to raise the so-called social capital. So you need to raise some capital. When that is going to be used for some social purpose, it is called as social capital. And this fundraising will be in a transparent manner and in an electronic way. So it's going to be transparent. If you are going to raise funds saying that you are going to do some social activity, it's going to be transparent. You cannot use that fund for something else. That is why the social stock exchange is going to be important. And this could sometimes help to rebuild the livelihoods of ravaged people in the corona pandemic. So that is why it is now done immediately. So because this is going to help the corona damaged people, property and so on. So exactly what is this social enterprise? It is a revenue generating business. So got it? So we were talking about something done for social activity, something done as a help, but yet so a social enterprise is something which has a revenue generating business. But the prime objective is to achieve a social objective. For example, like providing healthcare, clean energy or something like that. So it's like a company, it will generate profit as well. But the objective is to provide a social objective. Now, social enterprises can have profit as well. Most of the social enterprises, they operate just like any other normal business. The only difference is the profit of these companies or enterprises is not necessarily used for payouts, but they are reinvested back into other social programs. So you run a company and it is not a normal company, but it is a social enterprise. So what is the meaning of this? You of course generate profit out of it, and this profit will be used for a social purpose. And to generate fund, to create investment for this, now the government is having something called as social stock exchange, and it is going to be within the BSE or NSE. So simply fundraising for social enterprises, but it has to be transparent and electronic, because nowadays most of the activities which are said to be social, but in the background they can be used for even organized criminal activities. So this is also important. So this is a two-pronged approach. On one side here criminal activities are curbed, on the other side more fund can be easily generated for ethical real social enterprises. Now to proposal to set up SSEs in the country, but actually it was first given in the 2019 budget. This could be a prelims question. Such questions have been asked. In 2019, SEBI constituted a working group under the chairman of the Tata Group veteran Ishant Hussain. So Ishant Hussain, he was the one who first researched on this, whether that can be a successful process. Now, what is the eligibility to raise fund through this SSE? It could be a for-profit organization or a not-for-profit organization. Both for-profit organization and non-profit organizations can raise fund through this SSE. Please make a note here, because in a question, when a question is asked, fundraising for social enterprises can be done only by non-profit organizations. Generally, we would think definitely only non-profit organizations can raise fund for social activities. How could a for-profit organization raise fund using SSE? That is what we will think. But here the fact is it can be raised. That is, even for-profit organizations can use this SSE method to raise fund. But the only condition is the enterprise should be a social enterprise and not a normal conventional enterprise. Apart from this, corporate foundations, political organizations and religious organizations should be made ineligible to use this SSE. So a religious organization, a political organization or a normal corporate company, they cannot raise fund using this SSE because they have nothing to do with social activities or social enterprise. So how the fundraising is done? For non-profit organizations, it can be equity, zero coupon, zero principal bond, development impact bond, social impact bond. Now this social impact bond, currently it is known as social venture fund, and it can be with 100% grants in and grants out provision. This could be asked when in a prelims question is supposed to be tough. A list of things given and which of these are part of fundraising bonds or equities. And apart from this, donations by investors through mutual funds. So mutual funds also can be used as a platform for fundraising for this SSE. And all this is only for non-profit organizations. Non-profit organizations, you can see there is a broad variety of ways for fundraising. But for profit organizations, you can see that it could be equity, or it could be debt, or it could be development impact bonds and social venture bonds. So the fundraising platforms are less in number in case of for-profit enterprises. Sometimes the question could be made easier. The number of ways fundraising can be done for SSEs by for-profit enterprises are lesser when compared to that of non-profit organizations. Sometimes question could be made easier like this, but you have to know here, yes, for non-profit organizations there are more number of ways to raise the fund. The next topic is about something with economical agriculture, that is, we are going to talk about greenhouse horticulture. Greenhouse horticulture is also known as protected cropping. It is the production of horticulture crops within, under, or sheltered by structures for providing modified growing. Now, it protects the crop from adverse weathers, pest, and disease. Because you could have seen this in many places. If you had gone to any parks or botanical gardens, you could have seen a greenhouse there. That is a room sort of thing where within that crops are, or plants are grown. Nowadays you can see this terrace agriculture. On top of the house, on the terrace itself, people grow plants for vegetables and such things, and there we can see this type of agriculture is done, and actually it is called as horticulture because plants are used for vegetables and fruits. And here, diverse agroclimatic conditions in India, it is ensuring that the production of all types of fruits, vegetables, and medicinal plants can be obtained from India. So that says India is a good place for horticulture. We can gain lot from horticulture. And one more thing, India is the second largest producer of fruits and vegetables in the world after China. We are on the second place in horticulture. Horticulture crops contribute 28% of GDP. And they account for 37% of the total exports of agriculture commodities. So 28% of GDP, 37% of exports in agricultural commodities. You can see how important this horticulture is. Now, during the year of 2019 and 2020, the country recorded the highest ever horticulture production. So in the entire history of India, in the year 2019-20, we have seen the highest ever horticulture production, and it was 320.77 million tons. So the year is 2019-20. This could be asked. In this year, this is the year in which India saw the highest amount of horticulture. And here you can see L.H. Bailey is called as the father of horticulture, and M.H. Marigauda is called as father of horticulture in India. He is called as the father of Indian horticulture. So try to remember these details. And regarding this horticulture, there have been certain schemes to improve horticulture, and one such thing is Mission for Integrated Development of Horticulture. So it is not that one product, but many products, many fruits, vegetables, everything are brought under this integrated development of horticulture. Under the scheme, central government contributes 60% of funding, state governments give 40% of funding. In the case of northeastern states and Himalayan states, the funding is going to be 90% by the central government. For the other states, it is 60-40, and for northeastern states and Himalayan states, it's going to be 90% from the central government. So this is a centrally sponsored scheme. This is not a central sector scheme. This is a centrally sponsored scheme. You can just know it. You don't even have to remember this, because agriculture, we know it is a state subject. The state government takes care of agriculture. So it cannot be a central sector scheme, which means the entire idea or the entire product is with the central government. Here is just a centrally sponsored scheme, which means some part of the contribution will be the central government and the rest will be by the state government. Now, within this integrated development of horticulture, there are different schemes, 5 major schemes under this. One is National Horticulture Mission, Horticulture Mission for Northeast and Himalayan states, National Horticulture Board, Coconut Development Board, Central Institute of Horticulture. So try to know these names. Sometimes in the statement, one of the statement could be the tea board or the coffee board. Here you can see tea board and coffee board is not there, but you have Coconut Development Board. So be very careful which is included here and which is not. And the rest of the things, it's just the name is with horticulture. Horticulture for National Horticulture Board. Then you have Central Horticulture, which is in Nagaland. So with the different names, it's just with the name horticulture. And the one extra one is Coconut Development Board. Try to remember these names. And about the National Horticulture Board, it was set up in 1984 on the recommendation of a committee. The committee was called Group on Perishable Agricultural Commodities under Dr. M.S. Swaminathan. Simply, it's called as the Swaminathan Committee as well. And it is headquartered in Gurugram. So it's very easy to remember. Always horticulture or agriculture is done in gramas, in villages. So you can remember it is in Gurugram. To improve integrated development of horticulture industry and to help in coordinating, sustaining the production and processing of fruits and vegetables. This is the motive of National Horticulture Board. Next, what we have to see about is microfinance lending norms. So what are the norms for microfinance lending? So all entities, banks, non-banking financial companies, microfinancial institutions, all of them are subject to the same regulation. This is the latest thing by RBI. So all these things will have the same regulation, no difference. So a microfinance loan, what is it? As per RBI, it is a collateral free loan. So when a loan is collateral free, it is called as microfinance loan. And it is donated or it is given to a household with an annual household income of up to 3 lakhs. Such questions are asked in prelims. That is the amount, the limit. Here it is, the limit is 3 lakhs. Now all collateral free loans offered to low income households, regardless of the end use of and of mode of application processing, whatever it is called as microfinance loan. So just the conditions are collateral free and the income should be within 3 lakh. If it is done, it's called as a microfinance loan. The loan could be for any purpose, that doesn't matter here. Now the financial entities should have a broad approved policy to provide the flexibility of repayment periodicity on microfinance loans as per the borrower's requirements. So this is the condition for a microfinance. So when compared to a normal finance, a normal loan, if it's a microfinance, the returning policy will be little more flexible. The tenure, the way it is repaid. So all those things will have more flexibility when compared to a normal loan in a microfinance loan. So definition, what is this microfinance? Microfinance is a form of financial service which provides small loans and other financial services to poor and households. Now microfinance institutions are actually financial companies that provide small loans to people who do not have any access to banking facilities. So this is one other thing where we are trying to do financial inclusion. When poor families, people from small villages, when they don't have proper access to banking facilities, these microfinance institutions provide them with small loans. Now the definition of small loans, actually it varies between countries. As far as India is considered, any loan which is below 1 lakh is called as a small loan or as a micro loan. So there are two numbers that we saw now. One is the household's income has to be less than 3 lakh to obtain a microfinance. And at the same time, how much loan can be got is the amount should be less than 1 lakh. Now microfinance is delivered through variety of channels. It is like normal banks, that is a scheduled commercial banks can provide this. including small finance banks, regional rural banks, cooperative banks, NBFCs, MFIs, all these types of entities can give microfinance. So MFI is microfinance institutions, which we just saw. And this microfinance institutions should be registered as a non-banking financial corporation. So if it is registered, so even a microfinance institution can provide loan, but that loan should be less than 1 lakh, because what is a small loan or what is a micro loan definition is it should be less than 1 lakh. So these are certain conditions. Try to keep them in mind as well. So what is the history of this? In the 1990s, actually microcredit was given by scheduled commercial banks only, and either directly or via the government organizations, and it was very narrow. It was given only to self-help groups. But due to lack of regulation and scope for high returns, several for-profit financial agencies such as non-banking financial corporations and microfinance corporations started to emerge. Later they saw that this field is a good profitable field, so it started to emerge slowly. So whenever such things are emerging, the government has to regulate it as well. So by the mid 2000s, there were a lot of malpractices by microfinance institutions, and there were crises coming out of it. So what happened was, they set up a committee, and that committee was under Meligman committee, and it was a new regulatory framework for NBFC MFI, that is non-banking financial corporations, microfinance institutions, that is microfinance institutions which are registered as non-banking financial corporations. For this, the Meligman committee gave the regulation, and under this the regulation was introduced in 2011. Now the RBI permitted a new type of private lender, that is, it is a private lender. Note it down. Now after this committee, the RBI permitted a new type of a private lender. And this was called as small financial banks. So in 2011, you can see the RBI has led something called a small financial banks, and this was having an objective of taking banking activities to the unserved and underserved sections of the population. So by 2011 itself, there was some sort of activity for financial inclusion. We can see that. So how did they do that? Using this small finance banks. And what was the recommendation, or who gave the recommendation for this? Was the Meligman committee. So why this Meligman committee was appointed? Because after 1990s, seeing the scope in this field, many microfinance institutions and credit institutions started to sprout up, and they started to cheat people, and there were a lot of crises. So to regulate that, the government sets up a committee. Under the recommendations of that committee, they say yes, people can lend it, but with proper regulations, and that type of lending was called as small financial banks. And that's it for today. Jai Hind. If you like the content, please share it to your friends as well. Let us learn and grow together. And every month, use our monthly magazine, monthly current affairs magazine, to revise your current affairs so that you don't lack in current affairs. The link for the monthly current affairs module will be given in the description. Please download it. Thank you.